Okay, so lesson 1.6, part 2, graphing systems of inequalities. So in part 1, we graphed systems of equations. And when we graph systems of equations, what were we looking for? Our intersection point, yes? We graph one equation, we graph the second equation. Since they were equations, we looked for that point of intersection. Now, what changes today with systems of inequalities? What do I mean when I say inequalities? Instead of equal signs, we're going to have
greater than or less
than, greater than symbols. Okay. What changes when we graph inequalities? Instead of just graphing a line,
you graph up.
You graph a line, but you also have to what?
No, Jeremy, that's wrong.
Are we saying it? I couldn't.
Oh! You have to color the circle. Shade.
I say along the lines, we're shading, yes? We're shading above or below. We don't really have circles because we're graphing a line here, but we're shading above or below. So now when we're graphing a system of inequalities, it's where does one shading overlap with the other shading. Okay, that's the direction of what we're doing today. Now, it's review in that we know how to graph these. We're still looking for y equals mx plus b form. It's just a matter of all the inequality pieces. So let's take our first one here. X plus y greater than or equal to 6. I'm going to do this one in purple. And I'm wearing the shirt that's going to make marks all over the screen today. Okay. How do we get this in a good graphing form? I think Aaron already said it. Okay. If we are again going for y equals mx plus b form, let's subtract x. Subtract x. Then I'm going to have y greater than or equal to, because I'm going to graph it, I like to put my x first. So negative x plus 6. Okay. And recall, y equals mx plus b form is what I'm going for here.
Yep.
What do we know about y equals mx plus b? M is our slope. B is our y-intercept. Old news, but I'm still reminding you. You can never have too many reminders. I just may annoy you with them, but that's all right. So in this case, y greater than or equal to negative x plus 6. My y-intercept is 6. What's my slope?
Negative 1 over 1.
Yeah. The invisible number in front of x is a 1. It's negative, and negative 1 is a fraction. You can always put it over 1. Okay, so y-intercept of 6. I'm going to count up 6. A slope of negative 1 over 1 means I'm going to go
Down 1, right 1.
Okay, rise negative 1, run positive 1. So down 1, right 1. Now, you can do as few or as many dots as you want, yes? Today, the intersection points aren't mattering anymore. I don't care exactly where these intersect because it's going to be all about our shading. So, we will connect our dots. Now, I have to throw in a question today. How do I connect my dots?
No clue.
There's 2 different types of lines we could use to connect these dots. Huh?
Like a dash line?
Okay, so the question is it a solid line or like a dashed or dotted line?
Solid. No, it's a solid because it has the equal to.
Okay, so because it's greater than or equal to, it's the idea of a filled-in circle. So it's a filled-in line, so it's a solid line. So we are going to connect this with a regular, everyday, solid line. And that's because it is equal to. So I don't know, is that a reminder I need to put up here that less than equal to, greater than or equal to, we're going to use a solid line? What's that mean about less than and greater than?
Dotted.
A dotted or dashed line. So again, if you want these reminders on your paper, work them in, yes? Now, I'm going to go ahead and talk about it now. We're not technically quite done graphing that inequality.
We are not.
We need to decide where to shade. Your choices. 99% of the time, your choices are above or below. When we have it in that y equals form, I want your brain saying, do I shade above or do I shade below? What symbol did we have? We had a greater than symbol. Is a greater than symbol going to tell us to shade above or below?
Above.
Above.
Yes.
And so now, above on this particular line, based on the angle, is over to the right. I would shade lightly. Easier said than me, for me to do with the menu. But you're kind of just a light shading, yes? Or maybe you don't want to shade and you're like, I'll remember it and I'll do it at the end. But the idea, or you can use arrows. So I don't want to make my graph so hard I can't see it. There's my light shading for the moment. Okay? So, let's see. I'll put over here that any type of greater than or greater than equal to, we're going to shade above. What's that mean about our less than symbols? You will shade below. Sorry, I'm not very organized with my side notes, but these are all just your little pieces that you might need, right? So here we did a solid line, and we shaded above. Okay, other line, inequality, excuse me. Y less than or equal to negative 5 halves x plus 10. Good news?
You don't need to switch it.
It's already in y equals mx plus b form, isn't it? So that's good news. What do you know here? Our slope is? Negative 5 over 2. Our y-intercept is 10. So y-intercept of 10, we're going to make a dot at the top. Slope of negative 5 halves. The negative goes with the 5 or with the 2.
Both.
Not both, one or the other.
Right.
Okay, a negative, it's one number's negative, the other number's positive, because a negative divided by a positive is a negative. Now, I happen to put it with the 5, which is where I need to, because can I rise positive 5?
Yeah.
No, I'm at the top of my graph. So rise negative 5, run positive 2. So down 5, right 2. Down 5, right 2. Down 5, right 2. Down 5, right 2. What type of line are you connecting these dots with? Always a question to ask today.
Solid.
It is, again, equal to, so it's a solid line. What are my shading options?
Shade below.
Above or below is what I want you thinking, because it's in reference to Y. Because this is a less than symbol, I do agree we are going to shade below. Now, you have to be careful with below, because this is a very almost straight line, isn't it? It's not. But below, you want it so you're underneath the line. Which side ends up being underneath the line here?
The left.
The left in this case. It's not always that. It depends on the angle, but so my shade below is that. Now, do me one thing as we finalize this. Leave it like this. I'm going to take off a point on the test. Because I don't feel like you have told me where the final answer is.
It's worth not sharing.
Disagree?
Where they're both shaded.
Where they're both shaded.
They're both shaded.
So where is it both shaded?
Between the two not shaded.
Okay. Where they're both shaded is up there where my red and purple overlap, yes?
Yes.
I just kind of filled in a green there. So my recommendation, you don't have to get real fancy, but kind of darken that area in. If you're a color person, this is where you can use a third color. But kind of darken that area in a little bit darker than the other areas. Now, Solvus, Math, Excel. I don't know. Do you get to shade both sides and it automatically does it, or do you just, I feel like sometimes you just pick that final piece.
Yeah.
So, like on Math Excel or Solvus, I feel like they'll have you graph the lines, solid or dash, but then you'll just shade in the end that one little piece. Like you'll have to pick which of these 4 pieces do I want to shade, and it would be that piece right there. Okay? Difference between doing paper and pencil versus computer. Okay, questions? Lots of things to consider. They're all in your brains. Pull them out, right? Dig deep.
I'm digging.
Okay. Well, I almost feel like maybe I could have skipped this one. But, okay. This is a good practice. X plus Y greater than 4. You guys take me through these more now that we've gone through this. First key. You've got to subtract the X over. You got it? Y greater than negative X plus 4. Now, let me take a moment to insert. I saw a couple of problems when I was pulling the homework questions this morning, where you hit this point and then it has a negative Y. How would we get rid of a negative Y at this point?
Multiply by
Well, multiply by a negative, or divide by -1, right? Now, I bring that up. Multiplying and dividing by -1, you guys can do, right? You just change every sign. But when you multiply or divide by a negative in an inequality, what's the catch I need to remind you of? Switch the inequality, yes? The greater than would become a less than if we had to multiply or divide by a negative.
Is that
Okay.
on homework?
It is on homework, which is why I'm bringing it up. I didn't think about it when I was making my notes, so, you know, if I'd go back and do it again, would I maybe change that? I probably would, but it is what it is at this point. Okay, did you guys graph this?
You know it.
Slope of -1 over 1, y-intercept of 4. Y-intercept 4. I feel like I made these two problems too similar. Oh well. Down 1 over 1. Down 1 over 1, you've got a negative slope, yes. You know what a negative slope looks like. How did you connect your dots?
I did in my dash.
Okay, I don't know, do you guys prefer to say dashed line or dotted line? You know, I say dash because it technically is dashes, isn't it? You can say dotted. It's a broken line. Yes, it is not a solid line. It is some type of broken line. So this is going to be a dashed line, which means as I connect it, don't make me hunch for those. Make me be able to see that it's broken, yes? And what's our brain thinking about shading? Above? Because it was a greater than. So we're shading above. Ask if you have questions if something's not coming back to you. So again, hard to shade on the VidQ. You guys know what you're doing there, though. Switch. Y greater than or equal to negative 1/2 x plus 1. It's already y equals mx plus b. Again, I feel like I made this problem too easy. Oh well.
It was a good practice.
It is. Okay, slope is negative 1/2. Y-intercept is 1, so up 1 for my y-intercept. Slope of negative 1/2. Options include negative 1 over 2 or positive 1 over negative 2. So I can go down 1, right 2, down 1, right 2, down 1, right 2, so on and so forth. Or I can go up 1, left 2, up 1, left 2, rise positive 1, run negative 2. Always ask yourself, what type of line? What type of shading? What type of line? It's equal to, so we're going to shade, or excuse me, solid line, and what type of shading? Choices are above or below, since it's y equals. Since it says y greater than, greater than is always above. So we want to go where the y values are greater. So above, it's kind of looking messy here, isn't it? Sorry, you guys can definitely make that look better with pencil, I know. Where is the overlapping? Don't make me guess. You tell me on your paper, right? So overlapping. Okay, this top right section here. There's no shading down here. There's actually no shading down here. Actually, there should be purple shading right there, shouldn't there? Yeah, that's officially my purple shading. You know, this is where you have to get it closer to the line. Does go in there. So we've got a section with only purple shading, a section with only red shading, but oof, that's a mess. Sorry, don't study that too hard. Even I did mine in colored pen, and I like it a lot better in colored pen, so, because that is, I don't like that. Oh well. Now, let me ask a question. I'm kind of giving you a moment while some people finishing up get what they need from this screen before I change screens. Where are the solutions? If a point is a solution, where does it land? In my overlapping shading, yes? So if I give you an ordered pair and say, is it a solution, it's going to have to land in this section here, isn't it? It's going to have to land in that overlapping pair. If I give you an ordered pair and ask you, is it a solution just by looking at the inequalities? What does the solution do? It has to make not one, but both inequalities true, correct? Okay, now, what's different on the bottom? Yeah, I gave you more than 2. Now, most of the time, and this holds true in homework, I believe, when I give you more than 2, okay, 2 of them could be your typical y equals mx plus b angled lines. The other 2 are more of the horizontal vertical type. And so they're just an x less than greater than or a y less than greater than. So, okay, let's work our way through this. Negative x plus 2y less than 1. You got it? You are what? Good. Adding x. So then I have 2y less than, I'm going to put x plus 1. To get y by itself, divide by 2. Y less than, now, what's your brain need to think when you see x divided by 2?
1 divided by 2.
Yeah, 1 divided by 2. So this is 1/2 x plus 1/2. I cringed last night when I was filling in my notes answer key. I cringed because what do we have to do right now? We have to do a y-intercept of 1/2. Sorry, guys. It's not horrible. It really isn't. Never my desire. I don't think you'd have to do a y-intercept of 1/2 on the computer at least, right?
Probably. That daggum solve was
I really don't think you're going to have to. So, slope of 1/2, y-intercept of 1/2. Okay, guys. So a y-intercept of 1/2 says we go up half a box. Now, in all reality, you could scale this and count, by halves, but I'm just going to make it work. So I have a y-intercept of 1/2. Now, what does my slope of 1/2 mean?
rise 1, rise 2.
Okay, we're going to rise 1, run 2. So when I rise 1, run 2, I'm thinking in terms of whole boxes. So I'm going to rise a whole box, which puts me in the middle of the next one, yes? And I'm going to run 2 over. So I'm always going to be in the middle of a line, I guess I should say. So I'm not really in the middle of a box, but in the middle of a line. Okay? Rise 1, run 2. Rise 1, run 2. It could be a lot worse, couldn't it? It could be a lot worse. I think it could. So we can also rise -1, run -2. Okay.
Make sure that line's down.
He's already answered my question. What kind of line do I use?
Dash.
It is not equal to. So this is a dashed line. What symbol is this? Less than? So where's the less than take me?
No, it goes down.
It goes down? Did you shade the wrong way?
Yeah.
You were so confident too. Gosh darn it. Okay. It is a less than symbol. Points left, less than symbol. So my shading is below. Okay. That's our more traditional line, yes? Technically, these other two lines are easier, but they're not as traditional, so I know that's where I catch some of you. Remember, when you have an X in a number or a Y in a number, those are your horizontal and vertical lines, yes? You just have to work on which is which. Now, makes it even more difficult when it's a 0, but here's the idea, guys. If my brain thinks X equals 0, that means I need to cross through the X-axis at 0. Well, if my X-axis is horizontal, and I'm crossing through the X-axis at 0, this is a vertical line. Which basically means this line is on the Y-axis, right? Now, with that in mind, solid or dashed?
Solid.
Solid. So basically, I didn't even do any dots. You can put dots any place you want there. But there we go. I don't know. Maybe I should have said save the shading for the end on this one. It's gonna get kind of ugly here, but shade lightly. Now, my question on shading, what choices do I give you? I say above or below. This is an exact vertical line. This is the one exception I make. When it is an exact vertical line, instead of above or below, you have to ask left or right. It's the only time you get to do this. And every other time it's above or below. So where are numbers greater than or equal to 0 in respect to X? So greater than is going to be to the right. So a solid line shading to the right. Yeah, I'm regretting shading here. I should have held off on the shading on this one, at least on the bin cue. Okay. One more. And this time, y greater than or equal to 0. So if I replace that with y equals 0, now, y equals 0. I have to cross through the y-axis at 0. Well, if my y-axis is vertical, I'm drawing a horizontal line. So I'm crossing through the y-axis at 0. What's that mean? I'm basically on the x-axis here, aren't I? Solid or dashed line? I already drew it in a solid, so it is equal to again, so solid. And I'm back to asking above or below. This is greater than, so we are going to go above. Now, okay, above, goodness. Ooh, there we go. Okay, now, where's my overlapping shading here? Right there? So helpful. So, obviously, it's to the right of red, and it's above green. And it is below purple. Oh, well, I grabbed the highlighter option here. Your shading is in this middle section, yes?
Yeah. Is the green shading just supposed to be on that side?
Wait, what?
Oh, No, it should have. Yeah.
Okay.
No, okay, so Emma has a valid question here. Okay. Hold on. Emma has a valid question here. When I shaded the green, I think my brain was thinking ahead. Technically, my green does come all the way over there. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so why are you guys disagreeing with me? Because I saw you disagreed with me before I got here.
Shouldn't it be? Oh.
I think, based on what I think I saw in your paper, you went the wrong way of your angled line. Because if this angled line
Right.
is below, it can't be up here because there's no
Oh, I
purple.
did.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
I kind of like that yellow highlighting. It makes it a little less crazy for the BenQ. I'm trying to figure out the best way to do this on the BenQ.
You did.
So, yes.
Could you like just color in the part that
The final answer, you could, yes.
yeah.
So the question was, could you just wait and do your final shading at the end?
Yeah.
Yes, I think you can, because it is getting kind of crazy. You kind of have to figure out what works for you. So no, I'm not against that though.
No.
Can you wait one more example? You sure? Sign out there then.
There you go.
Okay, one more example if we can make our way through it, guys. And it just pretty much is practicing what we just did. And I know some of you have worked ahead, so. Okay, 2x plus y less than or equal to 10. Well, what do we know? Subtract 2x. Y is less than or equal to negative 2x plus 10. Slope of negative 2. Y-intercept of 10. I did that quickly, but I don't think you... How much do you still need me for this part of it? Okay. Y-intercept of 10. Rise negative 2. Run 1. Down 2. Run 1. So however far you want to do. Solid or dashed line?
Solid.
Solid. Shade above or below? Below. Now, I do have another option for you. If you're saying, okay, all this crazy shading is going to be too much, I do sometimes, I have been known to, so shading below would be this way. I don't know if this is better or worse, but kind of draw arrows. I don't know if that's worse or better, though.
Wait a minute, didn't I do that?
What, the arrows instead of the shading?
The arrow.
It's possible. And then again, this is to each your own, right? Okay. X plus 2y less than or equal to 10. Get y by itself, I'm going to subtract x. 2y less than or equal to, I'm going to say negative x plus 10. Divide by 2. Y is less than or equal to negative 1/2 x plus 5. Slope of negative 1/2. Y-intercept of 5. Y-intercept of 5. Slope negative 1/2. Down 1. Right 2. Down 1. Right 2. Or up 1. Left 2. Up 1. Left 2. Did I make a mistake? Oh, okay. So far, I agree with my key.
Yeah, you're
You're
right.
disagreeing with something.
I started from here. Oh, I forgot to.
Yep. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Equal to. So it's solid, and where am I shading? This one is also below because it is less than. Make notes for yourself if you need them. So shading below. See, I don't know if I like the arrows or not. I know. And again, it might be something for some of you, Aiden asked, can we just wait and shade at the end? That might not be a bad thing. Okay. X greater than or equal to 0? Well, that's what we did last time. X greater than or equal to 0 is vertical. So that's those pieces right there. Solid and shaded to the right. Yeah, this is getting too crazy. Might be something to be said for just shading at the end. And I need one more color. Try blue.
I like it.
Shut up, Landon.
Y greater than or equal to 0. That's y equals 0. That's a horizontal line, right? Horizontal line. And this one is above. Now, yeah, the arrows aren't doing it for me. I don't think the shading would do it for me on this one. I think this is really a solid example of why we should wait till the end to shade.
That's what Landon did.
Okay? And I'm totally, you live and learn. Here's the deal, guys. My green, my vertical is to the right, my horizontal is above. So at that point, that means I have to be over here in quadrant 1. Does that make sense? I have to be in quadrant 1 because I'm greater than 0, greater than 0. Now, on my red line, I'm below my red line. On my purple line, I'm below my purple line. So that puts me in this little quadrilateral area here. Okay? Okay. You have a 10-question homework on this. I hope I didn't make it too long. See what you can do with it. Let me know as questions arise. I got through it. I thought I'd have one more time than that at the end. Okay. See me if you have questions. It's lesson 1.6, and it's going to be called part 2.